Are you one of the many busy professionals working in offices day in and day out? Do you wonder how some people grow their wealth fast, retire early, and play on workdays? Well, you're in luck, because Ginny Bolling hosts this show, Pivot to Prosperity, where she interviews people that can do just that. Play on workdays. Many guests have become financially free. She also interviews people that are on their journey and people that are in support roles, like attorneys, contractors, brokers, and others. Commercial real estate is the common element. She is on a mission to be sure busy professionals know they can own substantial commercial properties too, like apartments, self-storage facilities, and others, and not have to do the work managing them. Passive investing is the key. Syndications are the typical method. Tax write-offs are some of the biggest rewards. Ginny and partners find the deals, build a strong team and business plan, then offer the investment opportunities to passive investors. New episodes are released every Tuesday at 12, so watch for new releases. If you want to get involved, let us know. You need to get pre-qualified to hear about most deals. See the show notes for contact information.
Hello, Ginny Bolling here with Pivotal Real Estate Investments and our podcast. And we have as a guest today, Richard Zwick. Thank you for coming, Richard.
Oh, my pleasure.
You have such a storied past. I had not realized. And so we've ended up chatting here for 50 minutes before we hit record, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to probably hopefully do a good job of summarizing some of it. But yes, you have been in real estate, same pretty much number of years I have. And so started in the 80s with the savings and loan crisis, some crazy times out there. But you were on the investor side and the transactional side. I was on the eminent domain side. So I did not see and realize how the investment side of real estate was evolving. I heard those late night infomercials, and I heard about those seminars that you were actually out there teaching, so that I didn't get the level of respect and whatnot that I should have. Now I know, looking back. I have joined the investor community only really technically in the last 10 years. I've had a little rental here and there, but I never did much. But boy, you were a trailblazer in so many
Yeah.
ways,
Yeah.
because you were out there not only as first a licensee, but then a broker, but doing the seminars and helping show people how they too can invest and comply with the laws and do well for themselves and their families. And so I applaud you on all that. And then you've been here in Central Florida the whole time too, which is terrific. I love Central Florida, I really do. And so then you know all the players that have been out there, and you've been really, today the takeaway is how you and Sandollar have been helping the landlording world to evolve, which, you put great minds, yours and you and Rob and your team to task with doing that. And I think it's terrific. So you also so you do property management now, right?
Yes.
And you're centered in DeLand. So you mainly do North Orlando?
No, we cover Volusia County, Seminole County, and Orange County. And actually, our main office, is in Altamont with Rob. So we have our sign on the door with Rob. So Sandollar Realty and then Sandollar Property Management.
Terrific.
But I live in DeLand, so we mostly operate out of DeLand. But Central Florida is our game. Now that the highways have encircled the whole of Central Florida, finally. Though
Yeah,
it's been a pet peeve
you can
of
do
mine.
that dig, because it's embarrassing for me saying sometimes that I worked for the Department of Transportation, because Florida's DOT is sometimes the slowest of all 50 states. And we don't have snow. We don't,
Yeah,
but we do
really.
have a lot of rain. We do have a lot of rain.
Yeah.
But
I suppose they would blame it on the lack of tax money or something to build highways, but they finally did it. So
Yeah.
I can get to almost any place in Central Florida in 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Get on the highway. I'm very close to I-4, and then I can zoom around the whole area. So that's been a real advantage. And our location is is such that I can zoom out right away. So it's really great, to have that availability with the highways. Because I remember when everything was a 2-lane road,
Yeah.
50,
Well, and
436,
yes, and so, but you're in a great position because you're pretty much a spokesman for the property management group there with Sand Dollar, right?
Yeah, I am the broker for Sand Dollar Property Management.
So
Yeah.
yes, you're embarking on like I say, evolving the landlording side of things. And you're such a great educator
Thank you.
that timing brought us together here because you're going to be our speaker for our women in real estate group here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
And that, yeah. And so it's great to have you on the show. And so tell us a little more about your past. How did you even end up getting in real estate?
Oh, well, the short version is I used to own a retail wood stove company in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I'm American. I went up there and bought the business and built it up. And anybody knows anything about retail, you got inventory, bankers, partners, blah, 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 a whole bunch of responsibility. And a customer of mine said, you know what, you should get into real estate. You'd be really good at it. And I said, well, I'm ready. So you go from inventory and locations to just making commission. I couldn't make enough commission fast enough, man. I just threw myself into it. It was wonderful. So that's how I got started. In that time, it was a seller's market. So it was like, buyer would say, I don't like that house. I said, it's the only house for 10 miles. What do you want to do? And they go, oh, I guess we better buy it. I said, great, sign here, kind of stuff. So that really got me going. Something that you could make some fast money like that. Oh, I just loved it. And it's never changed. Real estate for me is like the game because you can do anything you want in real estate with property. You can buy it, you can sell it, you can fix it up, you can do all kinds of stuff. And during the short sale, 2008, they did a lot of short sales, which are unheard of ways of selling and buying a property from banks, which was really a good game. And then we did what was called brokers price opinions, which was small appraisals. And I had a little company on the side that did that. And we did, I don't know, I think over a 5-year period, we did about 17,000 what we call BPOs. I mean, it was like really running fast. So, the real estate game, you can go from residential, you go to commercial, industrial, and back again. You can lend money. That's just so many things that are interesting to do. Do you find out? Now you and I are having a conversation. You say, well, the commercial business is in blood in the streets, and it's really bad. So I was like, oh, I remember that time. That was called RTC in 1990. Banks were going under. They had all this inventory. So it's just like on and on and on with real estate. Plus, the federal government gives, if you own a rental property, they give you tax advantages, which is fantastic. I mean, you can't do that with stocks, bonds, and other kinds of investments like that. And you can touch it. So if the stock market goes up and down, scares the heck out of people, you can run over and look at your house and go, hey, it's got tenants in it. It's really nice condition. It's well taken care of. It goes up in value. The guys that when we started the property management business in 2011, bought properties in Deltona for $72,000, and they were 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage block houses that are now worth $350,000. So, that's the kind of stuff that I get excited about is building wealth, building a legacy. So I have encouraged our investors, all of which are still with us pretty much, to hold on to that property for the rest of their life. Why? Because they can give it to their kids, kind of thing. And so it's a really interesting business in the respect that it's handmade for people like you and I to invest and create wealth with something that doesn't go away, like stocks and bonds and that kind of stuff. That's what I like the most about it.
I agree. Yeah, for sure. And I constantly have to point out that it's not going to disappear, dissolve like a business and
Yeah,
many like stocks but yeah. And to your point, there's so many people that hear that and they want to participate, but they're busy with their life. Like I was.
right. Right.
And so I wasn't even looking at what I could have been doing investing for decades. And I was in since the 80s. I've been right beside looking at all the governmental sides and doing everything I had needed to do there. And
Yeah.
I so wish I had opened that blinder, you know. But so you deal with this every day. People they're are busy, but they want to participate in real estate. And so that's one reason why you are bringing the property management into this current century. We're calling it the future of property management, right?
Yes, yes. And what we want to do is we want to change the thinking that the public has about property management. You know, as a realtor for 40 years, 41 years, nobody knows what a realtor does. I mean, it's like amazing. I can't believe it. Well, I don't know what they do. They sell houses, they buy houses, they do this, that. They do a lot more than that. You know, a good realtor will provide a great education for a buyer, even if it's a one-time buyer. Same thing in property management. We provide complete menu of activities to be able to increase the value of the property by having good tenants, good management, and good maintenance on the property so that the property doesn't deteriorate. And in some cases also to upgrade it to current times, take out the carpet, put in tile, you know, those kind of things. And it's amazing how little the public knows about anything that a realtor or a property manager does in the business or even in commercial for that matter, I suspect. But it's still kind of an interesting concept that we want to get over and become more partnership with owners of property to help educate themselves. If that's what they need, we can provide that because I've got so much experience. I'm going to pass it on to them and help them to avoid some of the issues that they can come up with when they are blindly putting tenants into properties without properly, you know, vetting the tenants, for instance, and they end up in court and the tenant hasn't paid for months and they have a lease that is, you know, something they pulled off a shelf and it wasn't filled out properly. And a judge looks at it and goes, this is bogus. Get out of my court. And you owe the tenant, you know, their lawyer fees for, you know, $2,000 to $5,000. And you still got the tenant in your house. It's kind of stuff. And that's not so uncommon. We're pretty lucky in Florida. It's an investor friendly state by comparison, you know. Comparison to New York City, San Francisco, other cities like that, which have all these rent management things that, you know, they put in place. They step on the amount of rent that people can charge and those kind of things. And the state pretty much, I would say, is friendly to us. So that's a good thing to have. So you don't have so many problems and people squatting in your house and, you know, wrecking a house and you having to pay for it kind of stuff. So it's a really good state to operate investment property in.
Yeah, that it is. And so we were chatting also before we started recording about that we're both members of the CFRI, the local real estate investor community. And you poor guys that are in property management, you're constantly peppered with questions from people that they're, like you said, they're trying to manage on their own, but then they get hit with these situations. I mean, you know, rarely do you get a tenant that stays in a property long term and you don't have any challenging questions. So
Yeah.
you guys get a ton of people asking questions and whatnot. So that led to your new program that you're launching. Is that right? Talk more
Yeah,
about your
yeah.
program. Talk about that.
Like you said, I get constant questions from members of the group CFRI, Central Florida Realty Investors, and the questions come from people that have surprised me. You know, people who are experienced investors asking me questions like, "Oh, Richard, can you help me? I have a tenant who hasn't paid in a couple of months, and I don't know what to do." And I'm like, "What? How could you not have some education background in that as to what to do?" "Oh, well, you know, I've never had a problem before. These tenants have been good, you know, those kind of things. And I let them go because they were really nice people." Oh, that's the first mistake, you know, kind of thing. So I try to answer them as best I can. And one of the things that I have to offer to people to say is, you got to get a lawyer. Oh my God, a lawyer is so expensive. They don't want to do that. So, it's a situation where they can have people in their houses that are not paying rent and not being able to get them out for months, maybe even years, possibly. And that's a sad situation. An investment worth $200,000-300,000 should be generating, $2 to $2,500 rent a month times 12 times a year, just that money adds up. The loss is phenomenal. And then they wonder why, real estate investing is not so good for them. And, they tell their friends and, the kind of stuff. It's kind of a sad situation. So what we've decided to do is to offer what we might call fractional property management, where an investor who owns a house can pick and choose from a menu of things that we offer to them, such as tenant placement. So most investors are not any good at qualifying and screening potential tenants. Oh, this person's a very nice person. Oh, they're very nice, very nice. They talk nicely. We got on famously. We're friends. And I'm gonna put them in my house. To say nothing. We don't know what kind of money they're making. You don't know what kind of credit they've got. You don't know if they've been evicted. I mean, the list is long. So we offer that as one of our main ways to help people out. And if they want more, we can offer full management, of course, but they may want to have access to me, for, a certain amount of time during the week. I have a setup called Voxer, which they can call me and I will be glad to discuss with them any issues that they have and see if we can come up with an answer for that, like an immediate issue, that kind of thing. So I want to offer that service. And we have a whole menu of other things that they can do as well. We have the courses that we're going to start doing, and we're going to have a membership so people can get together as investors, as a group, on a Zoom call, for instance. I mean, just on and on kind of stuff. Also, we have going to have them access, to get a properly done lease is one of the important things. There is a company called Heiss, Weiss, and Wolk, which is well-known lawyers in the state of Florida, and they are phenomenal. They have phenomenal amount of paperwork that they offer for free, to a 3-day notice, for instance, with instructions so that they can properly serve a tenant who's not paying. And I'll be glad to walk any investor through that whole process, so that they can do it properly. And if it ends up in front of a judge, then the judge can say, okay, you're evicted, boom, all the paperwork's in line, they've done things properly, and you're out of the house, kind of stuff. So I think it's a big need that just investors need more education to do a better job, to be able to keep that investment in good condition with good long-term tenants. I have a tenant call me the other day. My wife and I are breaking up. They've been in the house 9 years. Now that's a pretty long period of time. And it's not unusual. We've got tenants that are in there 10 years, 11 years, that kind of stuff. You want to keep tenants as long as you can because the turnover is very expensive. And you want to be able to, have this tenant in there because a lot of people today cannot afford and will never afford to buy a house. So they're going to have to rent somewhere. They might as well rent from you, and if you take care of your house and you treat them correctly, they'll stay a long time.
Right, for sure. So as far as the services that you'll offer, will you be, for instance, collecting bids for them for work that needs to be done?
That's a whole area we have not worked out. We can give them some advice because I have a list of how to vet a vendor properly. A list of things you got to do to vet them. We can offer that, and if they come to the September 24th event from 11:30 to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that, I will bring that with me and give it to everybody who attends.
There's an event September 24th? Oh, you mean
Yeah, you and I.
Mine. Okay, the wire one. Okay.
Yeah, the wire one. Yeah.
Okay. I thought you had another event. Okay. Yeah, well, so that would be invaluable if you'll collect bids for them too and vet the vendors, because as you and I know, if you use a plumber that doesn't have the proper insurances and whatnot, you don't have to worry just about them getting hurt at your property or something. But my biggest experience as a landlord was my unit got flooded because the neighbor changed the valve in their shower, and they turned it on and walked out, turned the water back on and went to dinner. And
Oh,
my tenant came home and she's calling me, I hear water, it doesn't sound good. And within minutes, the ceiling fell in.
oh my gosh.
And so, yeah, the unit got flooded. And so, yes, he did not have a plumber that was licensed, and he had to pay me some money
Yeah, for
to
sure.
take care of that. Right. Yeah.
You're
But
lucky you got paid some money.
not as much as it should have been, really. But
Yeah, yeah.
I was,
Just let me make a correction, Ginny. We're not up to doing anything like getting bids for people. We will give them the list, and I will teach them how to use the vetting list so that they can get a proper plumber,
yeah.
so to speak, who's
Yeah, it's
licensed,
important
insured.
that they do that and listen to you about how
Yeah,
how to
yeah,
do that, because
yeah,
yeah, that's vital. And
yeah.
then what about well, just the laws and regulations? There's state laws and then local regulations and things that you guys are up on, certainly for this whole area.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
would you offer overseeing the work that's being done after they pick who's going to do it? Will you go inspect it or check on it after it's done?
Well, one of the things we're working on is to offer inspections. Now, what we do at Sand Dollar Property Management is we do several inspections. We have an app that we use, and we usually on a move-in, we usually take somewhere between 100 to 150 pictures of the property when on the move-in.
Yeah.
So the property's usually vacant. The potential tenant is standing right there with us, and we walk through and take in an app and send that inspection to the owner and to the tenant, and we tell them, look, this is where we started. This is our starting point. We're gonna put it in writing right here. And when you move out, we're going to compare that. And if anything's off, like you punched a hole in the wall, you're going to pay for it. You understand? Okay, good. So, it's not like they can move in and do whatever they want. Now we've got a benchmark right there of 100 to 150 pictures. And we use that as the way to not only tell them, look, we're watching, kind of thing. And we're going to use that at the end when you move out, if there's any discrepancies. So that tenants, their security deposit that they give us is going to be used to pay for the repairs, and they have the legal right to contest that. But if we have an inspection, one going in and one going out, there's hardly any controversy over that. That's one. Month 3, when they've moved in, we want to see how they're doing, how they're living. So we have them do a virtual inspection for us, and then month 9. We want to see if we're going to keep them for another year, and we want to see what kind of condition they're keeping the house in. So move in, 3 month, 9 month, that's 3 inspections in that first year. And then the next year on a renewal, we'll do the 3 and the 9 months over again as well. So yeah, we can do an inspection, on the work if that's something that the potential, the investor wants to pay for, because we have a professional inspector that works with us, and we just send her out. She does the inspection, she does all the pictures, and that's a good thing to have. The more inspections you can have, the better you're going to know about your property, because I have heard from investors, experienced ones, I haven't been in the property in a couple of years, so I'm not sure what's going on. What? I mean, that's crazy stuff. See, if you don't protect your interest in the property, tenants tend to do their own thing. Not that everybody will, but they tend to do stuff like, paint a room. And I'll be guaranteed that that painting is not done to a professional standard, which you're going to have to do over when they move out, see? So there's that, so inspections are a very valuable part of the property management process.
So for those people that have been dragging their feet on an eviction, is that a service that you're going to offer to step in on those, or no?
Oh gosh, no.
Okay.
That's like the biggest can of worms you could step into, because it could go sideways on you in an instant. What we do is, and I know that Heiss, Weiss, and Woke, our attorneys, will take on investors that they feel are professional enough for them to work with. Now, they generally work with property management companies, but the other night at our meeting, I talked to several of our investors who use Heiss, Weiss, and Woke, who are, have 2 to 5, 10, maybe, and one lady has like 20 properties. So they, private investors, they will take them on. Now, in doing that, they will write a lease that is very current. In other words, a lease that's been tested in court, which a lease off the shelf is not tested in court. It's up to current law standards. And they will defend that. They charge us, I don't know, $400 to defend that lease in court. And, they're never not successful about evicting people. So that's where you have to go. Now, I do have some friends who, are professional investors and they do their own evictions, but still the laws are very complicated when it calls, when you're talking about eviction. And at any time, if a judge doesn't like something, he could throw the whole thing out of court and then you're stuck if you try to do it yourself, because you don't have the wherewithal to manage a judge, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So, having a lawyer behind you. In fact, in one of them, I'll give you an example. We had a lady who'd been in the property about 3 or 4 years, and she would dodge the inspections. She would say, "Oh, not this week. My kid has COVID. Oh, not this week. He's got the flu." And she keep dodging it back and forth. Finally, we went, "Wait a minute. We're doing an inspection tomorrow. You're either going to open up that door or we're going to come in because we have the right to do that." And, she fought us. And finally, they became late. And finally, we posted eviction on them. And she sent me, not lying, somewhere in the neighborhood of 39 to 50 emails every day trying to beg to stay in the house. I mean, it was nuts. Finally got to court, and this was back when they were doing, mostly Zoom calls for the court. So you don't have to appear live. And so the lady gets on the Zoom and suddenly this other face pops in and it's her mother. And she says, "I used to work for Orange County Fire Department. I want in on this." And the lawyer said to her, "Excuse me, are you on the lease?" "No, I'm not on the lease." "Well, then you can't be here. So you have to leave." "I'm not leaving." "Oh, yeah?" Go back to the judge, tell the judge. The judge says to her, you're either off that Zoom call or I'm calling this right now. And she's like, "Oh, okay." And she stayed away. See? So that was the control that the lawyer and the judge were able to have with this woman, which probably wasn't available otherwise if they tried to do it themselves. So there's a lot of things that lawyers can do for you in the midst of an eviction like that. We got a 30-day eviction plus a payment of overage for damages of $250 a month. And we put a stipulation. Once they got the judgment, they put a stipulation on it. If they stop paying the $250, that it automatically files a full eviction on her credit report.
That's a good thing to get. Yep.
Absolutely. See, so
yeah,
that's the kind of stuff. That's the kind of help you have to have, but you have to know how to get the help to do that and be able to do it, because a lot of lawyers would ding you. I heard one number Tuesday night was $2,500 to do an eviction. So there's lots of ways around. So we've got the background to be able to do that, and the people behind us to be able to do that over a lot of years, to be able to offer that, to our potential students, so to speak.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Well, so basically what we were saying is the way it's evolving, and what you all at Sand Dollar are bringing out is the future of property management, right?
Yeah.
And it's fractionalizing those services. So I just wanted to repeat that and make sure that that's out there, because that's the main takeaway for people from this episode, right?
Yes, that's true, because people are reluctant to hire a property manager because they perceive two things. One is it's expensive, and two, it's a adversarial relationship. You're just collecting money. You're just in it for the money. You're not in it for me, kind of stuff. See?
Yeah.
So we want to dispel those myths and be able to offer something concrete for people in an educational basis, and they can buy anything that they need at any time. And then just, so we can develop a different way of approaching property management. Now, what we're doing in the interim is to be able to automate as much as we can. On Tuesday night, I showed everybody our AI answering service.
That was
And
great.
it was, I mean, she was real as could be, you know,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
great. So, you know, that kind of stuff. We've put that in as part of our marketing. We put that in as part of our answering service. Also in the area of maintenance, we've got AI. We're going to keep working on that because what it does is it allows us to automate. So the answering service is straightforward. Answered on the first call, answer your questions, send you where you need to go. We've had other answering services, you know, and we've heard the people answering going, well, I'm not sure. Well, wait a minute, I need to get some blah, blah, you know, or you can't get a hold of anybody now. You know,
Right.
certainly if you call Spectrum or Duke Energy, you know, you get all this crazy stuff that's automated, but it's like you can't get to a live person. And so, you know, that's one thing we want is the ability to have a person answer immediately on this particular setup. And then if it's question not answered, they can turn it over to us, you know, live human beings. And we want to be able to offer that so that we don't lose touch with our tenants and our owners.
So for like in my case, I'm looking for some smaller multifamily as well. And my whole vision is to use professional property management. And so most especially for the smaller ones, then you can potentially pick and choose on the services. But when we go ahead and get into the syndicated apartments of 150 to 350 units, would you be have you gotten into big apartment projects just yet or no?
Have not
Okay.
yet.
Yeah. But
But we
you're
would,
more for the smaller size investor and yes,
yeah, but I'd
offering
be
them
more
the
than
right.
willing to take a look at that too, because that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I commend you on thinking in terms of making it making property management evolve with the times, and that's really an important piece.
I think it has to. I think it really has to because um, in the US, people generally avoid property managers. That's the general rule. You know,
Yeah.
it's a small percentage. I think somewhere I read the numbers, it's about 10-15%. I have some friends in Australia where property management is used by somewhere about 75 to 80% of investors.
Yeah.
Whole different mindset. See, they don't think the same way about it. And everybody in the U.S. I think is just like,
Yeah.
I can do it myself. It's not a big deal, you know, kind of macho sort of attitude. And then that's where I think that's where the trouble comes. The other thing that I want to mention to you, Ginny, is that what we want to overcome, this whole program is called Fearless Landlords. And the fearless aspect of it is a huge deal. Why? Because a lot of investors get too friendly with their tenants. So they're, you know, buddy, chumming up, go over, have a beer, sit around the fire, you know, and get friends with them. It's not. It's a business because when those people don't pay and you're over there knocking down beers with them, you know, it's very hard for you to say it's due on the first, late on the fourth. That's it, and you're going to get a 3-day notice. See, it's very hard to do that. And I hear that all the time. Oh, they had a problem. You know, oh, they broke their finger and they couldn't pay the rent. I actually had a lady tell me that one time. She broke her finger, she couldn't pay the rent. I'm like, what's that got to do with anything? So, you know, there's that piece out there that's missing that people don't get it. It's a business. It's not a chummy relationship with them because you have a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 asset that they're living in. And if they're not paying the rent, they're destroying the place. And you're not getting what you need to get out of that property to make it a viable, profitable business. Oh, I said the word profit. A lot of people don't like that, but that's it. Why are you in this? You make
Why
it.
you in it? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we need to wrap it up here. So I'm going to ask you the question I ask everybody towards the end here. And is there a pivotal person or event that's either brought you to where you are today or compelling you forward to some certain objective?
Yes, there are. So let me do the event first because that was a big deal in my life. In 19 1987, I did a program called Landmark Education. And it was a life-changing event for me. It was like a couple of weekends and then some other follow-up on it. But it really turned my head like 180 degrees from what I was as a person to what I have developed now. And that allowed me to be able to see that I had a severe drinking problem. So, I was one of those social drinkers after 5 o'clock, get drunk, get up the next morning, go to work kind of stuff. And, I destroyed relationships, I destroyed friendships. My business wasn't going anywhere near where it could have been because I was pissing off owners, and potential customers, like buyers and sellers. I mean, I made a mess out of my life. I mean, I look good. Nobody would really know what was going on in my head, but it certainly made a mess of my life. So I decided, and with the help of some of the people from my real estate company, which was Merrill Lynch at the time, who had done Landmark, to get sober, and decided, and I never looked back. So I've been sober 36 years, 37 years, 37, 38 years, something like that. Lose track after a while because you lose, the whole desire to drink. But that was a pivotal moment in my life. I mean, a huge one. So I cleaned up my life, and I've been married to my third wife. See, that's what happens is we're 35 years being married, and that's really the
Congratulations.
proof in the pudding. So that's really been a life changer for me. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened, to me.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. That is a big deal. All right.
Yeah.
And is
And
there,
I put that out there because Alcoholics Anonymous helped get me started, and I've worked on myself for a lot of years. And I tell anybody who asks, what was a life-changing event? That's it. If they want to ask me more about that, I'd be glad to help them out as much as I can, because that's a huge epidemic in our country today, is overuse of alcohol, drugs, and support, to manage a very stressful life. Life is stressful enough as it is. You don't need to complicate it by dulling it with alcohol or drugs or etc.
yeah. Yeah. Good. All right. And then there's a pivotal person you wanted to mention too, is there?
Yeah. I would say, for me, pivotal person in real estate has been Rob. And Rob Arnold
Arnold.
really helped me out in a lot of cases. Now, Rob probably wouldn't tell you that, because he's such a mild and very, I don't know, very, very quiet guy.
He's
But
humble. He's very humble.
yeah, and just his presence and watching him and what he's doing and how he does it. I mean, he hardly ever tells you anything about what he's up to, but I've listened to some of his stories on the offshoot, when he's talking to people, and I'm like amazed at the guy, you know. So I would say, in terms of real estate investors that are successful, I don't know how successful he is, but he's very quiet about that stuff. But he's got a lot to offer to everybody, especially at CFRI. Everybody knows him. He should be teaching a seminar on his experiences himself, for a whole day, because he's really made a huge difference. And he supported us big time, with Sand Dollar Property Management, getting that up and running. So, he was there for us, and we've done deals together, and it's been really, really great. So I would say Rob is my pivotal guy.
All right. Well, so as you know, we have this local legends and pivotal people series that we do, and so we had identified Rob as well as a pivotal person, and you nominating him, that means
Yeah.
even more. So you can call him and let him know you nominated him, or I will let
Yeah.
him know too. And if he comes on the show, and then we promote him and make sure people know he is a pivotal person.
Yeah.
And then he gets a lapel pin that says he's a pivotal person as
All
well.
right. That's
So
cool. That's
yeah,
really cool. Yeah.
yeah,
More people should do stuff like that. That's good.
yeah. Give back a little bit. A lot of good people that deserve a shout out. Really. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
great.
Absolutely.
Well, fantastic. It's been super to have you on the show, and we will let you know. We'll put the contact information in the show notes. But why don't you let people know how they can reach you?
Oh, okay. So our company number is 407-246-7118. Call anytime. At the current time, our AI lady, Sarah, will answer the phone. She does a good job. She puts it through to me. I'd be glad to talk to anyone about anything that relates to real estate. So, that if I can't answer it, we'll find the answer for you. And watch out. We're going to start prepping for fearless landlording, which is, one of the things that we've been working on for a couple of years. And, using fractional property management to help people out, because I think there's a lot of people need a lot of help, especially that I see. I mean, I see the guys that are showing up at CFRI. I don't know about the rest of the real estate community, but I would bet you dimes to donuts that there's a lot of people that are hurting out there that could use some help with their management of their real estate.
Yeah, and I think if you do that fractional services, you offer it like that, almost a la carte, that you get the word out there, you're going to get a lot of calls, I bet.
Yeah, we want to be able to help people. That's the whole idea, is to be able to have it out there. And we're working on making sure that we're using the best equipment available, so that if we're using AI, then it's always backed up by human beings, because this is really a person-to-person business.
Yeah.
And in today's world, it's very hard to be person to person. When we first started property management, it was easy. I did everything myself, because it was easy, it was simple, straightforward. And now it's at a point, we've got to be able to try to service as many people as possible, and be able to offer the kind of things that they need to get a proper education so they can stay out of court.
Yep, that's the big thing. Stay out of court. You're right. All right, very good. Well, thank you for coming on the show, and we will have that contact information, like I say, in the show notes.
Great,
And,
good.
appreciate
Thanks
it.
for the invitation to get on your show. This has been great. I've had
Yeah,
a
and I
great
look forward
time.
to having you come talk to the women in real estate here next week.
Okay, the 24th, right? September,
24th. Yes, I guess
11:30.
it's 2 weeks. It is.
Yeah. Okay, good. Great. I look forward to it. Look forward to a room full of people or 3 people. I don't care. We'll talk and have fun.
Yep, that we will.
All right,
Thank you.
Jenny. Thank you.